Hi, Nancy.
Hi,
How are you today?
I am just fine. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm very excited about Nancy's Nourishing Kitchen and Eat Well, Not Crazy today. I think we've got a great show lined up. This is segment 9, and we've talked about the fact that we're almost 3 months doing this program. We're now moving out of spring into summer, and I think today you're going to be talking about summer dishes.
Summer dishes, all centered around mostly vegetables. I call it, what did I say to you? Sensational salads, I think I'm calling this, because salads are a meal and they're not just lettuce. So we can make everything bright, light summer dishes that we're ready for now.
You clearly love your salads. I can see that you perked up.
Yes.
So why are you so excited about summer salads?
Well, I don't know. It's warm and humid here now, and like Patty talked about making dal, and that's wonderful. But we don't always want to have every meal that heavy, rich, you know, dense food, right? So summer invites lighter meals, fresher tasting foods, and salads are the perfect way to enjoy summer produce. They
Now,
go beyond lettuce, and you can throw anything in, and so much of what we've talked about for the past 8 weeks can even be incorporated into a salad.
now, for the benefit of those who don't know who Patty is, she's on our show, and we had a conversation before we started about cooking, and she's cooking some dal, and it was just a wonderful idea. But you're talking about something lighter than that and something a little quicker. I think hers was going to take 5 hours. Yours is not going to take anywhere near that time, right?
No, not at all. So, salads really are about showcasing what's in season, right? And it's usually now, especially in the spring and in the summer, they're just lighter, fresher ingredients, simple ingredients. So it doesn't have to be anything complicated, and it really can be any meal. So it can be a casual lunch, it can be an easy weeknight dinner, it can be a side dish to say grilled fish or chicken. I guess the most important thing is you're going to mix different foods together, which we've, again, talked about all along, different flavors, different textures, different colors. So even though there's always a place for leafy greens, I love my leafy greens, it's very easy to make a main course salad with a lot of different ingredients that are satisfying.
And salad doesn't always have to be kind of boring. I think one of the things that you said early on in one of the other segments I thought was great is using the salad as a base and then building off of that because then when you're actually in the digestive process, it makes you feel fuller, and it actually does, and it's actually better for you. So is that when you start talking about different profiles and stuff like that? Give us a little bit more insight about that.
Well, when you talk about flavor profiles, and anybody can look back, we've talked about different sauces and dressings and marinades and flavor boosters in other segments that can all be applied here. And that's going to give you different tastes. So it's never going to get boring. You can mix it up based on what you have in your kitchen and based on, what you have in your house, what you pick up at the grocery store. As far as being fuller, when you're mixing, there's a lot of fiber in plants, and that takes longer to digest, and that's what makes you full. And then if you add any kind of protein to it, whether it's vegetarian as in a bean or tempeh or tofu or chicken or fish, you're satiated. You're chewing, you're digesting, it makes you just feel better and fuller, as opposed to, again, I always go back to that, eating a bag of chips or eating some kind of processed food that's a lot of chemicals and goes right through you, not literally, but maybe, and you're not full. And you want more an hour later.
So tell us a little bit about your tips. I mean, I think most of us are really used to having salad with, blue cheese dressing or French dressing or, whatever kind of dressing, oil and vinegar dressing. But you're talking about a little bit more. I know you were talking about marinades, sauces, dressings, and then these profiles. I think one of the things that you said one time was about, throwing a little tablespoon of hummus on your salad, or throwing some nuts on the salad, and then throwing a couple of different spices on the salad. What are your personal kind of go-tos to kind of mix it up from time to time?
To mix it up from time to time, I really like the Mediterranean kind of flavors. So olive oil and vinegar and different herbs. So it could be dried herbs. You're Italian, you can have a mix of Italian seasoning. It could be oregano. Now, even in the grocery store, you can get all kind of fresh herbs like parsley and oregano and tarragon, which has like a little licorice flavor. So I tend to go Mediterranean, and then I also like, we
What
talked about
about
different
mint? Would you
Asian.
throw mint in there too? Would you throw mint in that mix?
Absolutely. Now mint is growing wild, and I pretty much, anytime I would use basil in the summer now, I use mint. So mint is not just for tea. I just chop up some fresh mint and throw that in your salad. And that just gives you something different. Even if you're having a bunch of grilled vegetables and some chicken, throw some chopped basil and chopped mint on there. Mix up your herbs so you're not always tasting one thing. And it makes your food much more interesting. And you'll want to sit down, and you talked about mindfulness, savoring every bite and really enjoying it, as opposed to eating just because you need the fuel.
So that sounds great. I know last night we had something with are you familiar with the spice called shug? Shug, it's a Mediterranean spice, and you reminded me of that, but it sort of has it's a little like harissa. I mean, we've been using harissa from time to time, but just these flavor profiles. So throwing in some mint, but you've described some oregano, and it sounds more like an Italian profile. Are there other spices you can kind of throw in there to?
Sure. You want to think about Mexican, you can go with more of a cumin and a coriander, those deeper, richer flavors. You want to do the Asian profiles, you can do more of a rice vinegar and a tamari, which is a low sodium tamari, which is a gluten-free soy sauce or soy sauce. Changing up your sweetener will change it. You can throw in a little bit of honey or a little bit of maple syrup. So just by switching the herbs and the spices, you can have a totally different flavor, again, which makes it more interesting. And it's really easy, honestly, to just do a quick little Google search and see, what different cuisines have different flavors. Indian is more of the cumin and the turmeric and the coriander, and it makes your life interesting. When you mentioned too, I always throw a little hummus on my salad. Sometimes even if all I have is mixed greens, carrots, and cucumber, because it adds that creamy texture, a balance to the lettuce, right? The crunch, and it's great protein for you also.
Yeah, I was actually finding that someone was doing a recipe with fettuccine Alfredo, but instead of using heavy cheese, they were using a hummus with a hummus kind of mix with garlic and some other stuff and it was not a lot of hummus, so because hummus can be very fattening, but it absolutely looked wonderful. And the idea of doing pistachio nuts or doing a flavor profile with some tamari and some rice wine vinegar with maybe some peanuts or something like that, throwing that on top of the salad, that gives it a whole other texture, even throwing in a little noodles or something.
Well, exactly. Could be, you could have some leftover pasta or some brown rice noodles or even some leftover rice, and you throw that in. So that's the one good thing about salad too, is never ever ditch even those tiny little your leftovers. When you have leftovers from dinner the night before and it's not enough to make another meal, you have all those little components. You can make your salad basically out of what's in your fridge. And I know salad is, everybody thinks greens, but it's more than that.
I have been doing so much more of that now. I made a wonderful corn salad with some cucumbers and red peppers and some other things. And I made so much of it that I was able to use it for like 2 days, 2 or 3 days, just as a garnish or just as an add-in. So it's very nice. So the basics are, we've got the salad, we've got some of the sauces, we've got some of the marinades, and then we got some of the little add-ons. What are the other little add-ons that we might look at to go ahead and kick it up a notch?
Well, we've talked about our caramelized onions and caramelized shallots. That's easy to make, easy to have in the fridge, and that will always add another different texture or sweetness. Again, change up your dressings. We're going to share a grilled summer salad on the website that's got chicken breasts and corn and peaches, right? So we've talked about grilling. You can throw some corn on the cob when it's in season on the grill and some peaches just for a minute or two to kind of get those light marks and a little caramelization, cut them up, throw them in your salad. And now you have just a richer, flavor just by putting it on the grill.
Now that's great. Now,
Yeah.
now the peaches, I've seen this happen so many times, and it just kind of blows my mind. Peaches, cranberries, fruit, dried fruit or real fruit, and throwing that in and just grilling it changes the taste of it, doesn't it?
It definitely does. It makes it sweeter. It changes the texture. And even if you don't have time or don't feel like grilling it, chop up some fresh peaches or an apple, for that like little crunch, and throw that into your salad, and it will add a sweetness without adding sugar. And again, your bite is more interesting. So you want to eat it.
Great. So we've got the fruit, we've got the salad, we've got some of the standards, the cucumbers, the tomatoes, and you can actually start making some salads with a lot of these as well, can't you?
Absolutely.
Like cucumber salad with some other stuff in it.
So you think like my standard when it's easy is chop up a couple of cucumbers, you throw in some fresh basil, a little olive oil, and red wine vinegar, and now I feel like I've got something quick. But mix it up, change your herbs, use apple cider vinegar. Tomato salads, throw in some white beans, some feta, some oregano, and parsley. Cheese is another one. If anybody tolerates dairy, fine. I happen to really love feta. You don't need a lot. Just gives it a little bit of a tang. I always think of tomatoes and fresh mozzarella in the summer, right? There's nothing better than, I've said this before, a tomato in July or August when you can eat it like an apple. A little sprinkle of salt and some fresh mozzarella and fresh basil. Again, we talked about, we're going to share too a fruit salad. So I'm going to share a watermelon salad recipe that has some onion, some feta, and fresh mint. So you're adding a little bit of savory from the feta and like the bite of the onion to the watermelon. So everybody thinks of, the watermelon slices as a summer dessert. And this really can be a lunch, a side to a dinner.
So wait a second. So watermelon with red onion?
Yes.
Fresh mint and some cheese like feta or mozzarella. So that is a combination that not many people would think about.
Right. Exactly.
Wow.
And the dressing is just a little red wine vinaigrette. So it's, some red wine and some olive oil and salt and pepper, and you toss everything in, and it's delicious. If in the summer on Long Island, we can get different color watermelons. So maybe get a yellow watermelon. Keith, you're frozen. Can you hear me? You're good.
Yes, I can. I can hear you. You can't hear me.
I can hear you. You were frozen now. Now I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. But like here, we can get a yellow watermelon. So you have a yellow watermelon, a red onion, the green mint, some of the white cheese, and then you have something beautiful and colorful that's very interesting to eat.
That sounds fantastic. And you had mentioned before apple cider vinegar, and I'm curious because I've started using it, and it's really changed the taste of the salads tremendously. Why is that, and what do you think is so great about apple cider vinegar?
Well, they say from a health perspective, apple cider vinegar has all kinds of health benefits. You can see studies for and against, but it's just a different, it's made from apples, right? Whereas a red wine vinegar is made from red grapes, or you can get a sherry vinegar, which is also made from grapes, but it's a little bit sweeter. So it just gives you a different flavor. I happen to love apple cider vinegar. When in doubt, I will sprinkle a little bit of that on. If you're making a soup or a stew and it's flat, throw in a little apple cider vinegar. But it's made from apples and it's fermented like a regular vinegar, but it's just a different flavor because a different fruit was used as opposed to a grape.
I made I think I might have mentioned this, but I made a chili, and I overspiced it, and it was way too hot.
Right.
And I read something that said throw in some acid, and they suggested apple cider vinegar. So I put in apple cider vinegar, and it calmed down the spice incredibly. Actually made it a little sweeter, and it was really, really, really good. I was surprised with that. So cooking it sweetens it, doesn't it?
It does. It definitely sweetens it. So, but that's good to know. So sometimes I overspice my food too. So now I remember. I usually use the vinegar or the lemon or the lime to like make something pop. So the
Right,
balance is fantastic.
right, right. It was really good. So we've got one of the things that caught my eye though was the slaws. Can
Mm.
you talk about that? Because that is a really, it's an inexpensive dish, but yet at the same point, it sounds fantastic. And it also sounds like it might be a good base to, work from.
It's a fantastic base. So when I think of slaw, I think of the old mayonnaise-laden coleslaws of my youth, and I haven't had one of those in a really long time. So there's purple cabbage and green cabbage, and you can use it in a food processor or slice it really thin with a knife. Throw in some carrots and, grate carrots on a box grater. Throw in fresh herbs. I have chives that grow wild on the side of my house. So if you want an oniony flavor, but without the onion, throw that in. And then mix up your dressing. My favorite is apple cider vinegar and olive oil and salt and pepper.
Mm.
You've got a great slaw. It actually tastes better the next day. All those flavors kind of soften the cabbage. Cabbage is inexpensive and it goes a really long way. So it could
Right.
be based on a salad. We make like salmon burgers. So we'll do a base of slaw with a salmon burger on top and then that green goddess dressing that we've talked about before. So it's very versatile and you don't have to throw in all that mayonnaise that we're used to today.
So that sounds like a dish that, you spend $10 on and you've got something to eat for 3 days. So,
Oh, easy,
yeah,
easy.
yeah,
We
yeah.
had slaw the other day. It's been, I don't know, 4 or 5 days, and somebody just finished it yesterday for lunch. So it will last a really long time.
And I'm one of those people that I say, okay, let's do a dinner for two for under $20 and, or under $15 or something like that. And
Hmm.
that sounds just great. And then the last one here that I saw, which is great, was your bean and lentil salad. And, I know that lentils are really one of my favorite, and I know some other folks too. What does that look like? And is that like a long process or, how do you kick that up?
No, so any kind of bean, right? Beans can take a long time to cook on the stove, so you can soak them overnight. Lentils, you do not have to soak. Lentils cook very, very quickly. And we can also get canned beans. Just make sure that you always drain them and rinse them. But they're going to add protein, they're going to add a different texture, and throw that in, say, with roasted vegetables. Beets now, I love roasted beets. They take a while in the oven, but you can roast a bunch of beets and then they're in your refrigerator to slice up and add to that salad. But it's just going to give you a different form of protein, fiber, and something different to eat. Beans have that softer kind of textures. Beans are not expensive. It's probably one of the cheapest way to eat. And again, lentils do not take a long time to cook. Other beans will take a while, but they're kind of inactive on the stove. So you don't have to leave the house. Just check them every once in a while.
So one of the things you said that really caught me, and I think it's important primarily because I've just started doing more of it myself, is washing off the beans. Why do you wash off the beans?
The beans in the can, first of all, even if you get a can that's non-BPA, we've heard of BPAs, it's that plastic, right? So it's lined on the tin cans, and you can get a BPA-free can, but you still have that kind of metallic taste. You want to rinse that off. And they're sitting in liquid in this can. Canned beans are usually higher in sodium. So when you rinse all that off, you really get rid of a lot of the added salt as well. So you just want to rinse off all the liquid and start with a fresh bean.
Right. So you just rinse it off with water. You don't wash it up with soap, right?
Throw it in a colander, drain the liquid, rinse it off, and you're good to go.
All right, because I know some people will want, who are watching the show will want to wash it off with soap, and I just want to be clear, no soap here. All right.
Just rinse.
This is
Just
the soap-free zone. So that's also a really good protein as well. So you can use the beans, and then again, I wind up I open up a can of chickpeas or black beans or whatever, and then put them in a bag and then bring them out from time to time to add them into a specific dish. And that's pretty much what you're talking about in terms of the add-ons, the ability to add in your protein, right?
Right, exactly. So you think about your base, whether it's lettuce or a grain, right? There's grain salads too, or the slaw that we talked about, and then all the other add-ons. It's, you want something that's soft, that you've got protein. You want something that has texture. The slaw, the raw carrots, the roasted vegetables, whatever you have, throw it in. And we've always talked about that fiber, fat, and protein, right? That trifecta of eating healthy. So whether you're going to put grilled chicken on or shrimp, doesn't really matter, but always try to think of having some fiber from the plants, your healthy fats, and your protein, whether it's, chicken, fish, or beans.
And one of the things I'm smiling about, I'm excited about, is because we're here in the summer and we're able to grill a lot of the stuff. And then, if you think big, right? I mean, here you are on the weekend, you can go ahead and, take a couple of hours to go ahead and prepare and then grill stuff up and then put it in storage and then use it for other dishes during the course of the week or as leftovers.
Absolutely. So if you're going to grill shrimp, it's going to take you just as long to grill, shrimp for 4 as it is for 2. Or if you're going to grill chicken breast, don't just grill 2 for dinner. Grill a big pack, and then you've got it in your refrigerator. Again, you're going to just slice up a little bit of that chicken, or we had some leftover shrimp from dinner the other night, and one of my daughters threw it on a salad. It was perfect. So if you're going to spend the time grilling one thing, you may as well grill 5, and then you've got food to eat throughout the week, and it makes eating a lot quicker.
Great. So I know that we have a couple of recipes that you wanted to highlight this week. And I have to get all the recipes up. We've got all the recipes, many of the recipes already up on the website. I know that I might be a little slow with this, so I apologize. But the recipes you want to highlight for the week, what are they?
So today we're going to highlight, and I'm going to, after we get off this call now, I will add these 2 recipes to my website, but everything else we've talked about for the past 8 weeks have been there. Yep. But the one I briefly alluded to before was just a grilled summer salad. And the recipe I have here has chicken breast, some fresh corn, peaches, diced avocado. Remember, avocado adds a creamy texture and a healthy fat. Fresh chives, some toasted pine nuts, extra virgin olive oil, and that's it. And I've included a ginger lime vinaigrette for something different. So it's just grated ginger, some fresh lime juice, and some olive oil, salt, pepper, and you can always add a little bit of honey or maple syrup to balance out the flavor if it's too tangy for you. But it's just a different flavor and will perk it up. And you can cook your chicken, briefly grill your vegetables and your fruit, toss it with the greens with the vinaigrette, and put your chicken and your pine nuts on top. So it's just something, it's really a perfect main course dinner salad. And mix up your protein. You can put beans on there. You can put tempeh or tofu. You can put chicken or steak or shrimp. Play around with it. Marinate the chicken if you want to. Don't marinate it. So there is a recipe, but I encourage everybody to play. And I think I even wrote that on the recipe.
That's good.
And the other one that we're highlighting is the watermelon salad with fresh mint and feta that we mentioned before. It's just going to give you something savory as opposed to just having your watermelon slices. So I wanted to include summer food that was going to be light and easy to make and with ingredients that are in season now, which I'm very big on eating in season. So it's also important.
And as you say, you can play around with these things. So, you have your watermelon, you have sweet onion, you have red wine vinegar, and then you've got some mint and some feta cheese. And you could play around with the feta. You could throw in some almonds or some other kinds of things that might make it pop as well, right?
Exactly. And that's what we've been talking about, forever. It's use what you have, use what you like, and make it interesting. So, and I think Patty had said it on a different thing. She was trying something. It tastes different every single time. So you're right. And it doesn't matter. It still tastes good. So it's whatever you do. But I'll just read quick. The recipes that we've already shared that are on the website, there's already a corn, black bean, and tomato salad. We talked about a chickpea and sun-dried tomato salad, a grain and bean salad. We did roasted chickpeas on the snack attack day.
I remember.
Have some roasted chickpeas. There's like a healthy crunch, different texture and flavor.
Right.
There's a bunch of sauces, dressings, and marinades also on the site, and we did a salsa. So we've got stuff there. You can pick and choose with things we've talked about before and play around with it.
And then spending a day, if you're already tired and you've had your day and you're feeling like, okay, it's time, it's 4 o'clock, it's almost 5 o'clock, I think I'll have a cocktail. Now you have one last item here. Although you calling it a mocktail, I think for those people who would like the optional option, you might want to add in the tequila or the vodka. Can you explain that a little bit more, please?
Exactly. It's funny. I don't have the, I don't know what I do with that sheet. So if I can
I have
remember
that.
that.
You want me to, you want me to read it for you?
Well,
No,
let me see if I can remember. It's just brewing hibiscus tea, right? Or you can use any tea, but hibiscus is pretty and pink, and I think I have some ginger in there. Is that right?
Yes, you have raw honey. You do have some, let's see, you have hibiscus, honey, dissolve, let's sleep. You have, you have lime juice seltzer as an option. And there's no ginger here, but I like the idea of ginger. Let's go with that.
So I think I have right. So you're going to make some hibiscus tea and put some honey in there, right? So it sweetens it a little bit and you brew it.
Yeah.
You can throw in a knob of ginger if you want, and then pull that out and then strain it, throw in a lot of fresh lime juice and then some sparkling water. And now you have a bubbly mocktail. And if anybody chooses to indulge, it's great with tequila. It's great with vodka. So it's just a bright, hibiscus tea is healthy. So we're talking about an herb tea. You're talking about a healthy sweetener, not a lot of honey, the citrus from the lime, and your sparkling water. And it goes good with the nice light drink. So we're all looking forward to socializing again. So you can have a beautiful mocktail or a cocktail if you like, and it's the healthier version without all the mixers or the heavier things you may drink, say, in the winter.
And I like the mint leaf, but I think, tequila or vodka goes well with just about anything. So.
Right, exactly. So I wanted to share that as well as everybody's outside grilling their peaches and their corn. Again, summer corn, if you've got one ear of corn left from your corn on the cob, don't throw it out, cut it off the cob. You can even toss it in a pan and caramelize it that way if you don't want to throw it on a grill again. And it adds a delicious flavor.
Oh, that sounds delicious. So we're ready to go. We're ready to start and ready to go shopping and ready to start cooking. I think there might be a question or two that folks have. So we can open it up for questions if you're okay with that. And does anyone have any questions that they might want to bring up? And be reminded, you will go up on the video if you ask a question. Go ahead.
I don't have a question, but I've been cutting up firm tofu, putting a little olive oil and garlic powder and heating it in the 350 oven. And it puffs up a little bit and gets crispy, and then I could put that in my salad. And that's the protein I use. That's good.
That sounds fantastic. I love tofu. So that's a great way to do it. And it's easy, right? It doesn't take a long time to do it all, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's great. And you reminded me too, garlic powder. Don't forget the garlic powder and the onion powder in your spice cabinet. We tend to go with, cutting up a raw onion or chopping up garlic, but the garlic powder and the onion powder, a quick flavor booster right there, right?
Right.
That's great.
Thanks for sharing that, Patty. That's perfect.
Good. So this sounds really, really lovely. And I know that next week we're going to do a recap of all of our shows or all of the time that we've done. June 4th is going to be our last segment. That'll be our show 10, the 10th show for the season. So I want to make sure that we have a lot of folks coming for it. And you have some ideas about that too, don't you, Nancy?
I do. I thought I would wrap up our season, if you will. I will share another mocktail cocktail and just a couple of different appetizer recipes. So we're still stuck here at home. Things are going to start to open up. Who knows when and how we're going to do it, but I want to do it in anticipation of when we're going to be able to spend time with family and friends. So a few little snack foods that we can share, whether it's a cocktail party or appetizers at the beginning of a family gathering, and we'll kind of wrap it all up and bring it all together with everything we've talked about for the past 2.5 months.
Excellent, excellent. And again, these recipes are all up on your website, and your website address
is nancysnourishingkitchen.com, and I will have them up there. Actually, they're all up there. I'll post the last two when I get off here today.
Great, and these will also be posted up to the Center for Wellbeing page at the uccmanhasset.org website. And my name is Keith Fiveson. I appreciate everyone being here, and you can find me at workmindfulness.com, and we have a Center for Wellbeing page there where all of Nancy's videos are listed as well. So I just want to thank you, Nancy, again for all of the incredible recipes that you've provided us with your energy and so on over the last 9 weeks, and next week will be our 10th week. And it's just been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I love being here. And next week, we'll wrap it up with a celebration. How's that sound?
Oh, good. We'll
Sounds
have
great.
some mocktails online. Great. I love that.
Okay,
won't-
thank you.
And you won't even know if I have a mocktail or not. All right. Okay. Well, thank you all very much. Take care now.
Thank you.